Hello and welcome to another edition of Choose to Challenge. I am LaWanna Bradford and I am so excited that you are joining us here on E360 TV. And to those of you that are viewing from our streaming audience on Facebook, Roku TV, Apple TV, or Samsung TV, welcome to Choose to Challenge. If you happen to be joining Choose to Challenge for the very first time, this platform is designed to challenge our mindset, systems, institution, norms, biases, stigmas that are keeping us from elevating and expanding to the highest and best version of ourselves. But we are going to be talking about mental health as it relates to how important it is that we need to get involved in helping to change the narrative, the stigma, the biases, taking control of our own mental health. And why the conversation is so important is because we know 1 out of 5 individuals overall are faced with some mental health challenges. But the challenge within your minority communities, your Black and brown populations, we are not as apt to have conversations about it or even reach out and seek help. So our guest today is going to be speaking to the global audience, but we want to especially ask our Black and brown listeners to lean in to see how you can take control and heal from the inside out. I want to bring James Vanstone to the stage. How's it going, James?
Hi, LaWanna. Yeah, I'm really good. Thanks for having me on the show. Really appreciate it. It's great to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. James, you are coming all the way from the UK.
Okay, so I'm from a beautiful little small town called Tamworth. That's in central England. It's near Birmingham. A lovely little old town, which began in the 5th century AD with a lovely castle on the top of a hill. And I've lived here all my life. And yeah, I love it here. It's awesome.
Fantastic. We're getting just a little bit of feed, but hopefully it won't be too bad. So to tell the audience a little bit about you, you are a mental health expert. You are a coach. You are a mentor and a teacher as it relates to helping people not only to embrace and love themselves, but to become more expansive so they can live the best life possible. You are a hypnotherapist and a healer, and you help individuals tap into their unlimited potential. And I think that is so brilliant because often, James, we are impacted by the ash and trash of life, right? That we forget that there's genius within, there's greatness within, and you help us to get through all of those blocks that if we don't address them, can end up impacting our mental well-being. Yes?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, that's right, LaWanna. Yeah. I mean, I've got a lot of experience. At the young age of 21, I volunteered with a voluntary place called Samaritans in the UK, helping people that are in dark places with suicidal tendencies. Then I developed and went into counselling and psychotherapy on what we call the NHS, the National Health Service that we've got in the UK. And that through that, then I progressed into hypnotherapy and healing. And that's where I am today. Yeah, I'm really passionate about helping people to heal themselves.
I love that. And I just want to let individuals know this episode, it's for infotainment purposes only. We are not trying to diagnose or treat any diseases or illness. And if for those of you watching in the US, if you have any concerns, we have the suicide prevention hotline here that you see it below, as well as you can call the national hotline at 988. We know every nation has such hotlines. So please, if you're in that crisis mode, you're not alone. Don't struggle alone. Reach out, call for help, and someone will be there to give you the support that you need. So James, let's talk about your platform because I want the audience to first understand, kind of before we get into the what you do, what is hypnotherapy, right? We hear all these buzzwords, but most people don't know. What is it?
So hypnotherapy then, LaWanna, it's a form of talking therapy whereby The therapist does the talking, and we take you into a state of hypnosis. Now, hypnosis, very, very difficult to understand exactly what it is. But a simple way of putting it is, we're all hypnotized from a young age. We're hypnotized into our values and beliefs about the world. And so as a hypnotherapist, I'm actually unhypnotizing you from a lot of the negativity that people bring onto themselves through fear, through irrational fears and thoughts, and unwanted feelings and phobias and addictions, and anything really which is fear-based, where confidence and self-esteem are lacking.
Now, when you talk, and I love how you put that. You said that, and some people get a little fearful, like, oh my gosh, hypnosis. But you mentioned that we are literally hypnotized, right? We're these sponges, and we have these impressions that are coming into us.
Yes.
Most of the time unconsciously, that shape who we are, shape our value system, how we show up, how we respond to the world. And that is in and of itself a form of hypnosis, yes?
Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah, it absolutely is. Right. Did you know that as adults, we think between 60 and 80,000 thoughts each and every day, and 95 of those thoughts, they're done on autopilot. So in other words, our subconscious mind is doing most of that thinking. Now, a lot of the time, unfortunately, a lot of those thoughts are negative thoughts which are holding us back from being happier, from having more satisfying lives and being free from limitations and horrible thoughts.
Wow, that's amazing. So we have 60 to 90,000 thoughts running in our head.
Yeah.
And as you said, most of them are unconscious, and then most of them are negative.
Yeah.
That's frightening.
Yeah, it is very frightening. Yeah. And, you know, that negativity can come from when we're younger. Something really negative may have happened. We might not have been loved very well by mum and dad, or we might have had a teacher who was a bully, or kids that were bullying us. And at that young age, we suppressed that, and we just carried on and tried to forget about it. But then, unfortunately, it's all pulling on our positive energy as we're developing into adulthood. So a lot of the time, we can be full of fear in different situations without actually being aware that, wow, this got triggered from something from when we were younger that we can't even remember. And
it's interesting. And you're right. Children we always say children are so resilient, right?
Yeah.
But they have the ability, as you mentioned, to repress things because the body and the mind wants to protect itself. So it insulates itself in this very unique way. Yet as we grow to adulthood, then we're having all these issues, and we're wondering, where is it stemming from? But there's something that's been buried so deep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, really, really, really deep. And it's holding us back. And then, you know, we lack in confidence and self-esteem then, like socially. And then obviously other people then, as we come into adulthood, other people can dislike us and we don't get on with everybody else. And then that's just one big reminder on our subconscious pattern from when we were younger to be full of fear and to hold ourselves back and to go into panic mode and survival mode, which is our natural instinctive mode, where we live in a sense of fear all the time.
Let's talk about that for a moment. I'd like you to unpack the fear component, because especially I think individuals who are those type A high achievers, you know, they're running in a place of high anxiety and stress, but yet they justify it. I mean, I was there.
Yes,
you know, I justify why I thrive in excellence. I thrive in chaos, but that's not necessarily a healthy state to be in. So
no,
I've realized there was something underlying triggering that need to be so excessive in that. And so let's go back to the fear conversation. How do you help your clients dig deep and find out if it is rooted in fear?
Okay, yeah, well, you see, how it works with fear is we've got a left-hand side of the brain and a right-hand side of the brain. as some of the listeners and viewers may be well aware, the left-hand side of the brain, that's the part of the brain that we go into logic and trying to work things out, matter of fact. That's the kind of knowledge that the school system wants us to get involved with so that we can work things out factually. Then we've got the right-hand side of the brain, the very powerful, creative, emotional side, where we get all of our intuition from. And our spiritual side comes from our creativity. And so what happens is, a lot of the time when we're in fear mode, we try and rationalize, we try and come up with the facts, but our emotional brain overrides all of the rational side, and then we're left with all these fear-based problems that we've got no idea why we do it. So, you know, we want to lose weight, and we end up reaching for that chocolate, and we don't know why we keep doing it, because we know we want to lose weight, but then our emotional side comes in, and before we know it, we're feeding ourselves with that chocolate again, which is our emotional side. You could be in a car, say, at traffic lights, and the traffic lights have gone to green, and you're just somewhere else and you don't notice it. And from behind, someone pips that horn, beep, and straight away, you feel like you could destroy that person. You've gone into panic mode, survival mode, and you're all of a sudden ready to fight just because somebody behind is having a go at you by bibbing that horn. And again, we've got no rational reason to want to get physical with that person, but our emotional side, our survival instinctive side, has overridden our rational side. So I guess what I'm trying to get towards is all of our fears and all of that, it's very rarely rational. And the reason why it's irrational is because it's our emotional side, our right-hand side of the brain. And that is where hypnotherapy comes in, because what we're doing, we're taking you into calm, relaxed states. We've got different brain wave states. We've got the alpha state and the theta state, where we're slowing the brain waves down and we're getting into a really calm, relaxed state. And then we're getting you to close the eyes, and then we're just using positive suggestions and getting you to go into nice, tranquil, scenic places while we give you positive, loving suggestions to overcome that negativity that's already holding you back. I hope that explains it in a nutshell.
No, it does. So, as you mentioned to our audience, we have the left side, which is the logic, the rational side. The right side is the creative, our intuition. You know, I like to call that's like the God zone there.
Yes, the God zone, yeah.
But then we have that third part, that reptilian brain, that fight or flight, right?
Yeah.
That jumps in. How do we create from a mental health a harmonious brain, if that makes sense? You know, where it's, and I understand the fight and flight. You know, our body, we're equipped to want to survive or to flee harm.
Yes.
But when that harm is being triggered by those repressed thoughts, can you walk through, how do you even know the thoughts are there? Because if I don't know what I don't know, how do I come to you and even explain the experience that I don't know is there that needs to be changed? Are you following me?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, LaWanna. And in answer to your question, from a hypnotherapist point of view, that you don't have to actually know what it is, because how we view it is when people come to us, the problem is never the problem. So, for example, if somebody's coming with addiction issues, drugs, alcohol, that isn't the actual problem. That's not what we're trying to get at. We're trying to get to the place of where the fear is, where the anxiety is, where the unhappiness is. Because, you know, with addiction, I've had addiction issues myself when I was younger, so I know exactly how it works. It's not the problem itself. There's always a deeper issue, and it always relates to fear and a lack of love. And it's actually instilling that love from the inside outwards that helps to overcome those problems. So again, other issues that people bring. I mean, trauma, we already touched on that. A lot of the time, people can't even remember. They black out. They block out traumas that they had from when they were younger. So again, when they come for hypnotherapy, we're getting into this wonderful, calm, relaxed state where you're being given the space to go inward and resolve these issues at a deep subconscious level. So I hope that answers it. So yeah, you don't have to actually know what it is you're coming for. You just as long as you're willing to come along, acknowledge that you're not feeling very good, there's something missing, there's some part of you that wants to start feeling better, then that is enough.
Are you ready to defy gravity and challenge the impossible? Meet LaWanna Bradford, the visionary leader behind Choose to Challenge on E360 TV. Now in its 5th season, this groundbreaking show shines a spotlight on voices of change from across the globe. Born during the pandemic, Choose to Challenge becomes a platform for transformation where no topic is off limits. Every episode highlights individuals breaking barriers, rewriting narratives, and making an impact. Ready to share your story and inspire change? Call 404-618-2824 to become a guest. This is your moment to rise. Tune in now at e360tv.com. Your voice matters. Let's change the world together.
Is there, I guess from your standpoint, when you are helping someone to dig deep and to expose that fear?
Yes.
And I know that you're doing so responsibly, but I know this is for our audience. It's probably curious. Like if I've repressed something, and I'm just going to pick this, sexual molestation. If that's something that's been repressed,
yes,
and then it's surfaced,
right?
And now this person's in shock because now they're remembering. There's now this floodgate of remembrance of everything they went through.
Yes.
What's next? I mean, how do you handle that safely? Because if a person is already in a fragile state,
yes,
that can send them over the edge. Yes,
it can, LaWanna. Yes, yeah, and this is where it's good to be a skilled therapist. My view is that with hypnotherapy, we're calming you down anyway, and we're getting you into so if you're in a state of I can't, then we'll bring you into that calm space. And we'll allow you to acknowledge that, in a safe environment. But obviously we're a skilled therapist as well. So, I mean, it would be about timing. It would be about doing a bit of an assessment first to find out whether this person is in the right place for this kind of therapy, or is it perhaps that they would need to be referred to somebody else, But my belief is I've never, and I have seen a lot of people with trauma from abuse. It's quite a common one. I've got a few clients currently, and generally I find that hypnotherapy it's a good source of help of getting them to calm right down. And what we can do then is we can explore what actually happened with the abuse, with the event, that activating event that's caused so much trauma. And we can explore it that way. Yeah.
Now I know, thanks to technology, you're able to have clients all over the world. So
yes.
If you could take a few moments just to speak to the audience and tell them a little bit about your background and your education that has prepared you to be this amazing resource of healing, of hope for so many people.
Sure. Okay, LaWanna. So yeah, hi everybody. Hi Globe. It's great to be here. So I've got 20 years of experience in the field of therapy. I served with Samaritans, a UK-based charity helping people with suicidal issues, for about 3 years when I was a young 21 years old. Then I ended up in a really bad accident that nearly took my life. I was working in construction. I got a real bad bang on the head. You can probably see my scar there. And what that did, that was a pivotal moment for me, because I went back to college and I studied counselling and psychotherapy. And then I passed that and I got my diploma and I worked as a therapist. helping the NHS, the National Health Service in the UK, to help people with depression, with stress and anxiety and other psychological issues. Then I continued the development, because part of being a therapist is you've always got to be continuing your personal development. So I went on and I did my psychology degree, and that's where I came into positive psychology, hypnotherapy, and neuro-linguistic programming. It's a bit of a tongue twister, but in short, NLP and hypnotherapy, they're like brother and sister. They're part of the same family. And there, you know, I got into Reiki healing. They call it Reiki healing, but Reiki is a bit of a label. But it's like a hands-on healing, which is very powerful for the body and for the mind. So that I combine two therapies. I use hypnotherapy for the mind and the brain and the thinking. And then I use my healing holistically for the body. And so one of my key interests from when I did my degree was neuropsychology, which is the big thing now. We're so lucky to be able to now understand the brain by looking at thermal imaging and understanding what's actually going on in this coconut of ours, and getting to understand the impact that trauma and other things have on the brain, and some of the benefits that we can get by using different strategies. So one example that I love using when I do my mental wellness training with people is using gratitude. There's been a lot of research done on gratitude over the last few years, how easy it is to go into a gratitude state using appreciation and meditating. And when I say meditating, that can sound daunting to a lot of people. But in fact, we're talking 5 to 7 minutes every morning or evening, whatever time you jump out of bed, before you do anything else, before you look at TikTok or Facebook or anything like that. Don't bother with the phone. Just go and sit down in quiet contemplation of meditation and gratitude for about 7 minutes. And the results, and neuroscience has shown us this, is phenomenal. So yes, there we go.
Yeah, I was when you were talking about the neuroscience, neuropsychology.
Yes.
Here, I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Daniel Amen with the Amen clinics.
Amen. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, he's here in the U.S. Based in Atlanta in several centers. And wow. I know whenever I see him on a public broadcasting station, I just stop and listen, and it's so amazing. Like you said, the thermal imprints of the brain that he does to help you understand the trauma. And then when you go through this healing process, seeing the post imaging is quite amazing. Yeah,
it is, LaWanna. It's absolutely amazing. And you know, this is the beauty of it. We've got the traditional yoga and Chinese things which go back centuries and centuries and centuries, and now neuroscience is actually reinforcing that all of this stuff actually does work. It's very, very good for us. And you know, I mean, between 700 and 800,000 people committed suicide last year on this globe. Nearly 46,000 in the US alone took their lives. And so we've actually got some hope now that we've got this neurotechnology, and we can start. We still know very little about the brain. If this was the brain, we only know a tiny bit about it still. So it's exciting because we're always learning new things.
Yeah, it is very exciting because you're right. It's this complex machine, right? And to know that we are only using a fraction of it, but yet our understanding of even our usage of it is so limited, but it is growing. And I love how you're mentioning that the neuroscience work is validating centuries and centuries of practice. And one of the things is within Western society, we tend to focus on the medicating, right?
Yeah. And I'd never want to rubbish medical science, but from my own experience and from what I see in a lot of my clients, I've seen no end of clients that have stopped taking antidepressants, and they've been into therapy and they've turned it around. They've begun an exercise routine. They've got into yoga. They've learned how to nurture themselves. They've learned how to get into meditation frequently. They've learned how to seek support from positive networks of peers and join groups. And, you know, I'm a personal believer that this, okay, sometimes perhaps combined with medication, but I believe in a holistic approach. So, you know, I can't say that medication, you should all throw it in the bin. I couldn't say that because I'm not qualified. But right. I just think that perhaps it's only part of the puzzle. And there's a lot more that we can all be doing as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I suffered from chronic migraines from the age of 16 to probably around 45, 46 years old.
Right.
James, my migraines were so bad. My ER medical records were just like, you know, stacks of encyclopedias.
Right.
I mean, I missed so many days of my life because I couldn't function. I was literally, I felt like this medical guinea pig because back then, you know, they didn't know a lot about migraines. So I literally was getting injections in my head.
Oh gosh, right, yeah.
Yeah. So from that to all of the different, you know, crazy medications that now they're controlled substances. But Demerol was like nothing. I could go to the ER and I could tell them, again, this is before we started to really regulate the administration of drugs, but I could say, okay, I want this cocktail. I need X amount. I would tell the ER physician how many cc's of Demerol I needed, and give the other two drugs, and they would, you know. And so when we're talking about addictions, I had to really acknowledge within myself, because when you create a dependency on the medications, there is it is addiction. And I had to pause and say, LaWanna, you are getting addicted to these drugs that put you in that quick, feel good, calm state.
Yeah.
And then as I studied more, I realized because my body was getting accustomed to that, it was triggering the migraines. So I could. And so I was like, wow, I had to sit in that and think. And that's why overdose is running rampant still. It's a major epidemic here in the United States. And most people think of drug overdoses as, you know, you've got a heroin addict or something like that. It's like, no, it's the prescription medications that are taking out so many lives. And I took it upon myself to say, because I kept asking my physicians, and like, what is causing it? What is the trigger? Well, we don't know, but we've got to treat the pain. Okay, but there's something triggering these. And so I just began to do some heavy meditating and prayer, and just, I don't have them anymore. So all those years I was dependent on these crazy drugs. But now I don't have them. And when I talk to the physicians now, they're like, oh, well, it's just because, you know, your body has changed. I'm like, no, there's something that was healed in me. Right?
Exactly.
And that's what you offer.
That's right, LaWanna. And you know that yourself. We've all got within us an amazing system that heals itself naturally. I mean, let's face it, that's how we're all built. And I think you've hit the nail on the head. You know, we can heal without drugs, and drugs can then become the problem. They can cause the addiction. I mean, addiction is rampant, isn't it? And, you know, it's all very well saying that these are prescription drugs, but addiction is addiction at the end of the day. And you, as well as many, I'm sure there's many people watching, me included, we are the living proof that we can heal without those drugs. And absolutely, that's where I come in. So the holistic healing that I offer, and the training, and the hypnotherapy is completely drug-free. And it's just a means of using our own mind, our own body, our own internal resources to heal ourselves naturally.
I love that. You mentioned also about gratitude, and I was thinking about the Japanese scientist, is it Emoto, who did the
Right.
water experiment where he was speaking words of gratitude and love, and so
Yeah.
you had the crystallization, and then the others where there's
Mm.
just this, you're speaking not
Yeah.
healthy things, and it became dark and ugly, and
Yes.
when we think about our bodies
Yeah.
that are primarily comprised of water at the
Yes.
cellular level.
Yeah.
I'd like you to
Absolutely.
just speak to that, how we have to be careful and guarded, not only what we're speaking outward, but what we're saying to ourselves inwardly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Because what we're speaking outward, it's happening on the inside first of all. And as human beings, we have a terrible tendency to talk to ourselves like really negatively and to get into dramas, unnecessary dramas. And the reason the dramas happen is because we become so in tune with these scripts, these negative scripts, and we carry them through life. A lot of people, they go from the cradle to the grave, being in all of this negativity. And yeah, as you've said, with gratitude, there's been loads of studies done. For example, if you can keep a gratitude journal and just start writing down some of the things that you're really grateful for, and then focusing on what all of that means, it can immediately shift you into a wonderful positive state. The three aspects of gratitude is, first, just pick one thing that you can be really grateful for. It could be a person alive or dead, or it could be anything. It could be a hobby that you've got that makes you feel good. It could be your home. It could be a car. It could be anything really. And then really start to hone in and focus on all of the things that particular thing is doing, which is making you feel completely grateful. And then it's about the appreciation aspect, when you can come into a meditation state and really start focusing on bringing in a little bit of a smile and feeling those feelings of gratitude as they come into the body. That then is when you're creating a really powerful frequency to the universe, to God, saying, wow, I'm in this grateful state, and I'm going to attract more and more of this. And that is the wonderful thing. Now, if we turn it on its head, the opposite of appreciation and gratitude, what would that probably be? Well, it would probably be dread, fear, worry. And let's face it, lots of us, we wake up in the morning and the first thoughts that come into our head are dreads about the day, people we've got to speak to, things we've got to do. Oh, no. And as we're, knowing about it, again, we're beating the drum of all this negativity. Oh, no, I do not want this. I don't want this. I can't believe I've got to do this. And we're creating that frequency, and then we're bringing more of that to ourselves as well. So gratitude, yes, LaWanna, yeah, very, very easy. It's one of the most easy things, no matter where we are on our journey, no matter what things we've got going on externally. Gratitude is a very simple form of meditation with great immediate results.
I love these 3 steps. So as you said, to pick one thing that you're grateful or thankful for, focus on what it's doing for you. But I love this 3rd step is when we pause and allow the feeling to envelop the acknowledgement. That's where the power is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where the power is. So, I'm going to think about my friend. I'm just going to think of a good friend. So my friend Simon, who lives in France, okay? I'm going to breathe in and I'm acknowledging. Now I'm closing my eyes and now I'm thinking about all the good times we've had over the years. And I'm just thinking about the fun we have, the laughs we have when we get together. I'm thinking about some of the great things we've done together, the places we've been together. And now I can even add a smile. When I add a smile and I'm still, I've inhaled, I'm holding the breath. That then is really creating a powerful, powerful circuit of appreciation. So that's just one example. I was just picking a friend, Simon, but I could pick my pet cat. I could pick the forest that I love to go walking in. I could pick my mobile phone, which is good because I listen to lots of music on it. I could think of my piano that I love playing. That, like, there's so much.
Yes.
And there's so many. That's kind of one simple meditation that I use with clients on how to really feel those feelings of gratitude.
I love that. And when you look at from some of the greatest philosophers to the greatest religious books that are out there, there's a lot of focus on gratitude.
Yeah,
A lot of focus on being still and being grateful, being thankful. And if we sometimes go back to the basics, we'd be amazed at what we can tap into to, like you said, heal ourselves and create a more expansive being that we were intended to be. Yes.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you are right. Yeah. In a lot of the religions and a lot of the original texts, the Tao Te Ching, the Bible, of course, I think most of the religious books and faiths, there's a whole lot of gratitude in there for that reason. It's a very spiritual exercise, if you like.
And I love what you're saying. So to our listening audience, we are here with James Vanstone, who is just an amazing person. So gifted that our paths intersected. And he is coming to us to help us to understand how we can take control of our mental health. We know mental health matters. And from some simple practices such as gratitude, and getting involved in your holistic practices, creating sort of a balance, not being solely reliant on the medicines. We're not saying to give them up. We're not medical doctors here, but to really explore other options that may help you to get to that well state that you want to be in. And I think all of us desire that in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely, LaWanna. I completely agree. And, I mean, one of the things as well, it's about starting to learn to love yourself first. So in other words, putting yourself first, not in a horrible, selfish, egotistical way, but kind of thinking to yourself, like, my healthy thinking, my healthy feeling, my well-being is paramount. It's the most important thing to me. The fact that I can be happy and at peace and joyful, that has got to be the most amazing thing first. Because if I'm then going out into the world, this joyful, positively emotive person who feels good in their own skin, then that's going to overflow. And I can be of service to others. I can help others. I can be somebody that others can come to feel good when they're in my presence. That kind of a thing. And I think, unfortunately, I'm not so sure about the US, but in the UK, sort of mental health, mental wellness, there's a bit of a stigma where in the UK, we got this British stiff upper lip, as they call it. Oh, I'm all right. I'm fine. There's never anything wrong with me. Whereas actually everybody has got problems, right? We've all got problems. Everybody has. And okay, the tiers of society, there's different tiers and layers to society where there's a lot of inequality and things are very unfair. But generally, if we can start to come from a place of my well-being is the most important thing to me, my peace of mind, my feeling good, my happiness, this needs to be the first priority in life, and everything else then falls into line.
I totally agree, because you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Yes, exactly.
You just can't. And I have a colleague, and I love this exercise that she did. She came from a very traumatic experience, and I call it the jar. So she had a jar that's empty. And she says, sometimes in life, that's what you feel like, this empty jar. Mm-hmm. But then she takes her gratitude. So when good things happen, she writes them down and she starts filling this jar. Yeah. So this becomes her reserve, that when those dark moments happen, because we all go through a journey, right? Yes. She reaches into that jar, and then she takes now this awesome thing she's appreciative of, as you stated, and then she reflects and she goes into her meditation. Using that. So it's like her wall of remembrance of all these things that happen, because when we are in those dark moments, James, sometimes
Yeah.
it's hard to remember the good because we're so focused on the ugly, right? The negativity.
Yeah, absolutely. And as humans, I don't know why, but that is how we're built. Like, for example, if you're walking around a busy shopping place and somebody pays you a compliment, it's like, okay, you know, and then a bit later on, somebody bumps into you and says, hey, watch out where you're going, man. Like 9 out of 10 of us then all day will be focusing on the person that said, hey, watch where you're going. And we'll have forgotten about the compliment that we were paid. And for some reason, that seems to be how we are generally built. I think we live in a culture of negativity where the news is 24/7, is doom and gloom. And we become conditioned into having a negative view of ourselves.
Yeah, I remember, this is just kind of funny when you said the news is 24/7. Here in the US, I remember when they announced on CBS that they were going to have 24-hour news network.
Right.
And I remember turning to my mom and I said, does that mean we're not going to have Captain Kangaroo anymore?
You'd be better off with Captain Kangaroo, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, before I take myself down, because I want you to have some time to speak directly to the audience and tell them about some of your services and how they can connect with you, I am going to remove this. I want to show a brief commercial. Okay.
Okay, sure.
This is the amazing James Vanstone, and he's going to speak to you from his heart. And please reach out to him through his contact information that we have below. Make the connection, have a conversation. It doesn't helps to expand your awareness, and that at least is one step in the right direction. So take it away, James.
Okay, thanks, LaWanna. So everybody, it's so great to be here and to reach out to you already. So my name is James Vanstone. If you can go onto my website, which is www.jamesvanstone.com. That's www.jamesvanstone.com. And there you can see the services that I provide. What I would love is if you can follow me on Facebook, JV Coaching. That's JV Coaching on Facebook. There you can follow me, and I'm putting on posts and other things. And on YouTube as well, JV Coaching on YouTube, where I'm putting out loads of free resources. So what I can offer to you is if you would like to give hypnotherapy a go, because I believe that hypnotherapy is so awesome. It's got so many healing benefits for you. It can show you how to lead a more satisfying life. Then please contact me. You can come in through my website, which is www.jamesvanstone.com. And you can email me, you can leave me a note on there. I'm offering a free 20-minute hypnosis session with you online on Zoom. It's only sort of 20 to 25 minutes. I'm offering that absolutely free. All I will ask in return from you is a rating. Yeah, if you can rate me and say how the experience was, that would be a massive help. Obviously, of course, though, it would be lovely to think I can then offer you a full hypnotherapy session or some mental wellness coaching, or, at the very least, you can sign up and join me on the platforms that I've mentioned. That's YouTube, JV Coaching, that's Facebook, JV Coaching, and then obviously the website. So I'm just going to give you a quick tip today, right? So one thing that I would like you to think about, right, is nominate a sacred space in your house or your garden or your apartment, wherever it is you live. Nominate yourself a space there that you will come to just for 5 to 10 minutes each and every day, where you will sit in silence. Now, it may be that you're part of a busy household. There's always people rushing around and that. If so, you can sit in this sacred space, put some headphones on. But all I want you to do is just to come into this sacred space, a place where you won't be disturbed, where you can just completely relax and let go. And that's as simple as this. You could be sat in a chair like me. You can close the eyes. You can bring some focus and attention to your breath. And you can just relax. And while you're in that relaxed space, just let go. Let go of all the negativity. Let go of all thoughts and just be still. You know, we're in such a busy society currently with online and with social media that we're constantly being distracted away from the wonderful calm, stillness and peace that is within us constantly. It's really easy, guys and girls, to start getting back into tune with your inner self, with your inner being, with your higher self. And you can just come to a place where you can begin to relax and notice that the answers are already within you. They're not all out there. Naturally, you have got within you the healing ability to be calm and be still, and to have a new, improved outlook on your life and on your reality. And hey, if you're going through some really bad stuff currently, perhaps feeling like there's no way out, there's nobody to listen to you, you just really can't see any better way forward, I want you to know I've been in that place many times myself, and I've spoken with hundreds of wonderful human beings that have been in that place themselves, and they have come to a better place, a more satisfying place, and they look back and they're aware that they were in this unwanted place, but they're also aware now that they had within them the natural ability to move forward and lead a more satisfying life. So I'm going to leave that with you. That's my little challenge to you today. Number 1, follow me on Facebook, JV Coaching. Number 2, follow me on YouTube, JV Coaching. Number 3, go on to my website, www.jamesvanstone.com. But then the most important one out of all of those is to find yourself that quiet, sacred space. Nominate a quiet, sacred space, a space where you will go to frequently, just for 5 to 7 minutes, where you will allow yourself to get into calm relaxation. So I'm urging you, please take me up on it. Take me up on the free 20-minute hypnotherapy session, because I believe that hypnotherapy, it's something that you can enjoy, you can get to know. And once you've learned it, you'll then be able to use it on yourself into your future. You'll be able to tell others about it, and you will reap the benefits immediately. So I'm going to leave that with you. I would love you to give that a go.
Thank you so much, James. This has been amazing. I put your gratitude, the 3 points with gratitude down here for our listening audience, just to remind themselves to pick one thing to be thankful for, focus on what it's doing for you, and then get into that meditative state where the feelings are now in alignment with that thing that you are most grateful for.
Yes,
and
yes.
As you said, find that sacred space that's just for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you can't find one in the home where you live, maybe you can go to a park where there's a corner of a park, even with a bench, or somewhere you can go that's nice and quiet, that you can make your own. And that's your place, a place where you will only focus on being calm and at peace.
I love that. In my garden in the back, I have a place, and it's this beautiful little bench, and it's called Meditation. That's the name of that section of my garden. So it's meditation and prayer.
Oh, I love that. That is brilliant. That's got something to, I can see a book coming out there, LaWanna, surely. That sounds brilliant.
Yes, yes. Well, James, this has been amazing. I want to put your contact information here for individuals. Please contact James Vanstone at JV Coaching on all things social media, his website, jamesvanstone.com. And also you can connect with him for the free hypnotherapy session, which I know I'm going to sign up for because I'd love to have that
Brilliant.
experience and
That'd
just
be
to be
great.
more expansive and to
Yeah.
heal anything that might be buried in there. I know there's something in there.
Yes, yeah. In that session, it's about letting go. So I'm allowing people to get rid of the negative stuff. So yeah, if you just come onto Facebook there, and there from that, then you'll be able to instant message me and we'll get it set up.
I love it, love it, love it. Well, James, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank
To our
you.
listening audience, we want to say
Thank
thank you for again joining us for another edition of Choose to Challenge. We will be back next week at the same time for another special guest. And I cannot emphasize enough, please follow James Vanstone and just tap into what he has to offer. We all need our own toolboxes, just like we have things for our physical well-being. We also need to take control and build those tools, those resources for our mental well-being. And as I always say in life and in business, remember that when your vision intersects with opportunity, success is inevitable. I'm LaWanna Bradford here with James Vanstone, and I will see you next week. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.